Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Folk, and welcome back to another episode of the Channel 256 News brought to you by Bitcoin Mining World. The date is September 8th on a Monday evening. Bitcoin currently hovering above $112,000, making some moves over the last weekend, getting back up into this range. Hopefully, we can escape above the $115,000 mark. We've been struggling to get past that since August 24th, really. It shows some breadth opening up into the market. We are starting to see some green over in traditional finance on the index funds, which we'll go over here in just a moment. Before that, though, I want to point out that the Bitcoin net hash rate back above a 1 zettahash, making some moves over the weekend as well, starting over there yesterday on September 7th. Peaking today at 1.16 zettahash. People are plugging back in. Miners getting back to work. Always nice to see. Gold hitting another new all-time high today. A new all-time high of what? 3684. Kind of crazy. Still hoping that this is just its last final little push before it starts tanking, which then we should start seeing some money rotate into some more risk-on assets like Bitcoin and some of the smaller index funds like the Russell. All overall, everything's looking good. We got a green day. The Nasdaq over here up 98 points in the green, Dow Jones up 114 points in the green, and the S&P up 13 points, along with the Russell up 3 points, getting close to that $2,400 level that we've been talking about for the past few weeks. If you're not aware, the previous all-time high back in November is just 2,442, which is, if we can break out past then, we should start seeing some resurgence across the whole market on some more risky assets such as Bitcoin and even some of the altcoins. I know some of you guys are stacking some other of these little altcoins on your GPU rigs and your CPU rigs still. So hopefully we can see some gains out of there. Over here from Bitcoin News on X, we are currently 1/3 of the way to the next halving. It is projected to occur in 2 years, 217 days on 4/11/28, 35% done. Pretty cool. This post was just posted yesterday, but it's crazy to think about. It genuinely feels like the previous halving was just the other day. Like I said in the video the other day, I am a site technician at a 45 megawatt site. Probably 2 months before the previous halving, we swapped out 4,000 S19s for S21s. I'm real curious to see what we end up swapping over to here in the next couple of years. Avalon is starting to make some nice miners, which we will be getting into a little bit later. They're looking pretty nice. They're the A15 Pros, getting like 16 joules a terahash. Kind of curious to see where that leads. Also from Bitcoin News, we got Mara's Bitcoin holdings rose to 52,477 after producing 705 Bitcoin in August. Crazy to see. These big players are stacking and they are not selling for generally speaking, which is cool to see. And more people stacking. It's almost a certainty in everybody's mind, which does lead to some fear that we are not finished with this market yet. But I'm sure each of you guys have your own TAs that you pay attention to, and you guys all have your own price points. I know a lot of people are calling for this crazy $250,000 level. Personally, I don't see that happening this cycle. I would love to be proven wrong, but my goal is more in the 135 to $150,000 range. Yeah, like I just said, hope to be proven wrong, but that's where I'm sticking with as of now. Over here from Solo Satoshi, we got a solo block found again. A 32 terahash miner just found block 913593 on Solo CK pool. This lucky miner takes home over $340,000 or 3.06 BTC. Holds on to that for a little bit longer. I think it might treat him right. But yeah, his Blockbuster is what he named it for 32 terahash with an average hash rate over the past hour of 36.7 terahash. Was actually able to solve a block and take home the whole reward. This is not the only block solved by a small home miner. We do have another one, but it was mined on Ocean Pool. If you're not too sure what Ocean Pool is a pool that does distribute the rewards separately. Whoever solves the block does get a larger portion of the reward, unlike your normal pools like Amp Pool via BTC or Foundry. Where everything is split evenly, no matter if you solve a block or not. Ocean Pool does give a higher premium to the block solver. So over here from, I don't even want to try and pronounce that name, but Sneednode, I believe. Ocean Block posted the night before, but a new Ocean Block was mined. Um, Over here, I'll get more into it here in just a second. But yeah, this guy Sneednode was able to solve that Ocean Block. He solved it on a QX++ running default frequency on AxOS version 1.0.30 was the machine that found it. Here's the best difficulty displayed at least after resetting the machine to clear the block found message. I usually run these with screen offs, but I noticed it was on when I woke up, so that's a thing. It's kind of cool. So even if you are running them with your screen off, if you do solve a block, you will get a little notification, which is nice to see. Just insane for not even a tera, half a terahash at 17.5 watts a second is insane to solve a block. Fighting what, an exahash of hash rate? If you don't know, this is half of a terahash. It takes 1,000 terahash to get to a petahash, and then 1,000 petahash to get to an exahash. So it truly, truly insane. And we're sitting at a zettahash currently on our net hash rate. So, and then a zettahash is 1,000 exahash. So you can see what he was fighting, and the fact that he was still able to solve that on half of a terahash miner is truly incredible. Um, Over here from the Miner Mag, we've got Luxor facilitates financing of 5,000 Avalon Bitcoin miners in partnership with Cannon. Kind of cool to see. Luxor, if you're not familiar with them, they are an American-made aftermarket firmware for Ant miners. I believe they have a few WhatsMiner firmwares out on some of the old M30, M60 units, but Luxor has partnered with Cannon to provide financing for Bitcoin mining machines, beginning with a deal that enabled an unnamed U.S. institutional miner to acquire 5,000 Avalon A15 Pro rigs in August. The collaboration announced Monday establishes a miner financing program touting non-dilutive funding at quote unquote competitive rates and with quote lower collateral requirements. Luxor's chief operating officer, Ethan Vera, said the capital will come from Luxor's lending partners. Luxor is highly connected. They've got a lot of. I'm sure if any of you guys are site technicians, you guys have heard how they'll facilitate daily sales and converts from BTC to fiat for a lot of the large players out there. Their firmware is excellent. I personally prefer it over Brains and Vanish. That's just based on personal experiences. I know a lot of people differ. Lux got a bad rep back in the day for popping some PSUs on some of their firmware when the frequency wasn't enabling, or there were some issues in the firmware that wasn't enabling the miner to step down when it was getting too hot. So it continued overclocking and overclocking until they were literally catching fire. But I can say personally, running over 12,000 machines up on the site, that I've had no issues like that whatsoever on Lux firmware in the last 3 years. So they've made some big moves in the space, and they're really starting to get almost a monopoly over it, which I don't hate to see for Lux. They have been an avid player in the space for a real long time, and they're American made. Over here from the Avalon on that A15, it is a 218 terahash machine boasting 3,600 watts at 16.8 joules per terahash. So it is an absolute unit of a machine. It's got that same Bitmain form factor that'll fit on any of your other racks that you've got placed with any other backplates or something that any cutouts that you have to exhaust that hot air. Oh, just cool to see. Enabling more and more of the large players to plug in and support the Bitcoin network is always a good thing. Over here, we got a little bit of scary news that you guys might have saw in the title, but crypto users urged to take extreme care as NPM attack hits core JavaScript libraries. The breach hit core JavaScript libraries such as Chalk and Strip ANSI. Don't know if I'm saying that right, but downloaded billions of times each week, raising alarms over the security of open source software. Hackers have compromised widely used JavaScript software libraries in what is being called the largest supply chain attack in history. The injected malware is reportedly designed to steal crypto by swapping wallet addresses and intercepting transactions. Over here, we've got a tweet from the Ledger Chief Technology Officer Charles Gulnett. And this might not be him. I stand corrected, but this is a guy from Minimal Once again, don't even want to try and pronounce that. But how you lose your funds? This is just going into what the attack is actually focused on and who's at risk, but how you lose your funds. The malware uses two sophisticated methods. Clipboard hijacking. This is when you paste a wallet address and it stealthily swaps it with the attacker's address that is virtually similar to the real one, making it extremely hard to spot the difference. I've heard of this attack is an extremely old attack. It's been going on forever. Anytime you're ever sending anything, read back your wallet address. It's only 25 digits. There's no reason not to double check that at least 3 times if you're sending any large amount of crypto whatsoever. Transaction interception, another method that they're using, it directly hooks into your wallet's functions. When you go to sign a transaction, it changes the recipient's address in the background before the confirmation prompt even appears. How to protect yourself? This malware is only targeting BTC, ETH, Sol, Tron, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. If you're not sending any of those, I wouldn't be as concerned. However, it is still highly recommended that you are constantly checking your seed phrase. Once you're sending that transaction, if you've either got it hooked up to Ledger Live on your phone or Ledger Live on your PC, double check your ledger, read off every single digit that is on there, and double check it with the wallet that you are trying to send it to. Make sure all that is legit. I'd be looking at the wallet on a block finder of some sort, or just any way that you can legitimize it. It is worth every second that you take so that you're not getting your money stolen from you, because once it's gone, the odds of you getting it back are extremely low. Your financial confirmation screen is your last line of defense. You must meticulously verify every single character of the recipient address in your wallet app or on your hardware wallet screen before approving any transaction. It's just not worth it, guys. It is not worth it whatsoever. Do not make the same mistakes as many of the new players have. I'm sure many of you out there have stories where you have been burned in the past, and hopefully that we can just continue mitigating it by spreading awareness. I'm going to go ahead and end off this episode here, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that noti bell so you can be notified anytime we're uploading new content or when we end up going live. That has been all, folks. I'll see you next time. Thanks.